Hey everybody, on this edition of Grilling with Granddaddy Daddy, guess what time it is? It's getting on up towards St. Patrick's Day. So I'm gonna show you how to do a corned beef on the grill. So let's smoke some corned beef. All right, so here we've got our corned beef, and I'm gonna season the fat cap side first. I'm gonna use some of the little seasoning balls that comes with it. All right, so we're going to use some avocado oil as a binder. We're going to sprinkle this seasoning on. Getting to be pollen season in South Carolina. Okay, so we got our avocado binder on, avocado oil binder. All right, I'm going to coat this thing with garlic salt. Pat it, help it hold. We'll flip it, do this. Okay, now while we're on the fat cap side, go ahead and put some butt rub on it. And I want to make sure that I get it on the sides. We're going to flip it. And we're going to coat it real good. All right, so we've got our seasoning on there. All we're going to use this time is the garlic salt, the butt rub, and the little seasoning packet that came with it. So now we're going to go take the Weber grill, and we're going to heat the Weber grill up to about 250 degrees. And we're going to use snake method, and we're going to go ahead and cook this bad boy. So right now I'm going to cover it up. I'm going to let it sit probably for about 2 or 3 hours. Okay, so we already had it at room temperature before we started seasoning it. I'm gonna let it sit for 2 or 3 hours and give everything time to absorb into the meat. And then we're gonna cook it. All right, today we're getting ready to set up our Weber we're gonna grill some corned beef. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set them up 2 by 2. 2 by 2 by 1. I'm using Kingsford Competition charcoal. I've never used it before. It's supposed to burn hot. Well, we're gonna find out. All right, now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna put a handful in my chimney. That's maybe 10 briquettes in the chimney. Okay, while those coals get going, I'm gonna go get my aluminum pan that I used to put in the middle to make sure I stay indirect. All right, now I do have a couple of pieces of hickory that I'm gonna set in here. All right, I'm gonna put my aluminum pan in here. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these coals that we got going from the chimney. I'm just gonna dump them over here at the start of our snake. We're gonna let that get going a little bit. All right, so we got it going. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set my temperature indicator on the opposite side of the grill. And we're gonna roll that up to about 250 degrees. Once we get to 250, I'll start choking the fence back, and we're gonna throw that corned beef on. Let's wait. All right, so we got our fire going. We got our grill at 250. Let's put our corned beef on. Now we are gonna put this on fat cap down, and we're gonna leave it there for most of the cook. We'll flip it later on. Now I'm not cooking this like a brisket. Cooking this like a corned beef. I want a smoked corned beef for my St. Patrick's Day potatoes and carrots and all of that. So I'm gonna go to 180 internal. I will be spritzing it with apple juice along the way, and I'm gonna wait a little bit before I put the internal monitor on it. Probably will wait about an hour, and then we'll find out what our internal is. But we're going to 180. Once again, I'm not worried about bark. I'm not cooking this like a brisket. I'm cooking it like a corned beef that you would cook in your crock pot for St. Patrick's Day, except I'm smoking this one. So let's cover it up, let her cook. All right, we've been doing this for an hour at 250 degrees. So we're gonna spritz with some apple juice. It's coming along quite nicely. All right, now we're gonna stick our probe in. Because remember I said we're going for 180 internal. And it's probably gonna take about 3 or 4 hours. All right, so shut her back down. Let her cook. Okay, we've been 4 hours at 250 degrees, and we have hit a stall at an internal temperature of 140 degrees. So what we're going to do is, I don't want to take all day cooking this thing. And like I say, we've already had it on for 4 hours. So we're gonna wrap it. And we'll give it a good spritz. And like I said earlier, I'm cooking this more to be like a smoked version of a crock pot corned beef. I wouldn't be spritzing this much. We've been spritzing about every 30 minutes. I wouldn't be spritzing it this much if I wanted bark on it. All right, so let's wrap this up. Close it up real good. All right, now we're gonna let it continue going until we get an internal temperature of 180 degrees, and then we're done. Okay, so it's been an hour since we wrapped, so it's been 5 hours total at 250 degrees on the grill. We did reach our internal of 180, so let's take it off, let it rest for a minute. Let's see what we got. Take our temperature probe out. Okay, well, we've let this rest for about 10 minutes. So let's slice into this thing. See what we got. So let's take a taste. Oh, man, that is so good. That is so good. I got to have another one. It's nice and fall apart tender. Taste the seasonings. That is good. All right, so that's my how-to on corned beef. So we smoked the corned beef on the grill. It turned out really, really good. I'll put the recipe down in the description below, just like always. And until I see y'all at the grill again, y'all keep on grilling.